The following podcast contains adult content, including adult language. I talk openly about sex and other adult topics. If you are under the age of 18 or are uncomfortable listening to sexually explicit narratives, please listen no further. I am not a professional therapist, counselor, or doctor. I'm just an average guy in the swinger lifestyle who likes to share his experiences. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Please seek a professional if you are in need of guidance or care as it relates to sexual health or alternative lifestyles. Hello, my lifestyle friends, and welcome to Evan Swings. This, of course, is a lifestyle podcast from the perspective of a guy in the lifestyle. That would be me. I'm your host, Evan. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you here with me today. If you are new here, let me fill you in a little bit, as I normally do, briefly at the start of every show for any new listeners. I'm half of a lifestyle couple. My awesome, sexy wife is Eva. We are both in our very late 40s, turning 50 this year, actually. And I've been in the lifestyle for 5 years. We are a full swap couple, and we prefer a friends with benefits dynamic. We live in the Dayton, Ohio area and have thoroughly enjoyed our time in the lifestyle. Please remember, as you listen, that my opinion is just that. It's my opinion alone. I'm not a lifestyle expert. I don't pretend to be. I'm just an average guy, all right? I just like to share my perspective with you all. I have listened to a lot of lifestyle podcasts myself, and I just hope that this podcast is kind of paying it forward, and listeners out there are finding my rantings and ravings about the lifestyle to be informative and entertaining. If you are a returning listener, of course, thank you. Thank you as always for your support. I truly appreciate it and hope you keep coming back. Now, before I get started, I do have to tell you that I am recording this in a new location. I don't know if that is coming through the microphone, if I sound differently in any way. I usually record this from my home office. We are putting new hardwood floors in our home office, and that is just about done, but we have not moved all our furniture back in yet, so I am set up at my temporary area in another room of my house. So I can hear a lot more echoes than I usually do in my office. So I don't know if that's coming through, but if I do sound different than usual, that is why. I have two things to talk to you about today. The second thing is just a quick, sexy story that I thought you might enjoy hearing about. That'll be the second part of the episode. But as for this first part, it hit me the other day. After 5 years. I've known it all along, I guess, but I just came to the conclusion. What is my biggest lifestyle pet peeve? And maybe it doesn't fit the textbook definition of pet peeve, but I'm going to call it that. My biggest lifestyle pet peeve is bad communication. Bad communication from other couples. Let me tell you about the two couples that made me come to this realization in the last 10 days. So what I mean is that this all happened, what I'm about to tell you, in the last 10 days prior to this recording. The first couple. Well, I have lamented many times on this podcast about the lack of options in our area. Here in the Dayton, Ohio area, there honestly isn't much of a lifestyle scene. If we want to go to a club, like a decent, classy club, we have to travel about 90 minutes east to Columbus, or south of Cincinnati, actually. And if it's not about going to a club, if we just want to connect with other like-minded couples, we find that most of them are located in the more populated areas: Columbus, Cincinnati, Indianapolis. And that makes total sense. Those cities have much higher populations, so it makes sense. But after 5 years in the lifestyle, it almost seems like we have exhausted the supply. We've exhausted the supply, so to speak, of lifestyle couples to meet in our area. We seem to have met them all, or have had no interest in meeting them, or they have no interest in meeting us. So I admit that we do have our profile on a lot of lifestyle sites and apps. My theory is that if Eva and I really want to meet more people, then we have to broadcast. We have to advertise on a wide spectrum. Put our profile out there in a lot of different places, cover all the bases. So this one couple on 3Fun, one of the apps I use, the husband of a couple messages us and says, "We keep matching everywhere. Means we finally need to grab drinks." My memory is awful. I admit it. So I asked where else we had matched, and he said SDC. I much prefer SDC to basically all other lifestyle apps and sites. So I asked what their username was there, and I found them, and we started a chat there. I showed their profile to Eva, and she was on board. So I wrote to them, we would definitely like to keep chatting and meet for dinner and drinks. They responded, and I'm reading this word for word from my phone here. "Sounds good. What's your guys' schedule looking like coming up?" Okay, now paraphrasing now. I said, Eva owns her own business. She makes her own hours. And I'm a teacher off for the summer. So we have lots of free dates on our social calendar. I told them our real names and asked for theirs. They responded with their names, and they said that they have Tuesday nights and every other weekend free. Well, I just explained that, weeknights usually don't work for us, but we have plenty of Fridays, Saturdays, and even Sundays available. The last message I sent was, "Just let us know when you guys are free and we'll work something out." That was 9 days ago. They've read the messages. SDC shows that. They have been on the SD site since then. SDC shows that with a little green circle next to their name. But no response after 9 days. Why bother reaching out to us, initiating the contact with us, asking us about our availability, and then totally ghosting us? It makes no sense. Yes, I am well aware that things can come up. And I love the phrase, life before lifestyle. I use that a lot. But at some point in the last 9 days, they could have easily sent a quick message. Just a quick one. Even if they change their minds about us. That is totally possible and totally allowed. You're allowed to change your mind in the lifestyle. But to flat out ghost us is, in my book, really rude and obnoxious. Especially after they were the ones inviting us out for drinks. They were the ones that initiated the contact. Regardless, it's just rude, okay? My advice to anyone out there listening, be honest and respectful. Don't waste people's time. Don't toy with them. If you're not interested, just say so and move on. But if you have been involved in conversations and have created, expectations of meeting in person, have the decency to just send a quick message. There's no need for a lengthy explanation. There's no need to make up excuses. Just say, hey guys, sorry to say we're no longer interested. Best of luck. Yeah, that would kind of suck to receive. But at least now you know. At least they were honest. At least now you know you just weren't a match. Or maybe this is just me, but if something happened, like something that prevented me from responding, I would have the common courtesy to send a message knowing the other couple was waiting on me to make plans. Just saying, hey, something's come up. We'll try to connect with you guys another time. Done. Takes 5 seconds to type that. And ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly why Eva has the group chat rule that she has. Eva does not join a group chat until she has met a couple in person. That way she knows that the couple is real, with sincere interest, and that she is interested in moving forward with them. I get it. Her rule makes sense. She hates having her time wasted more than I do. And I really hate it. Because this is aggravating. So my advice to you, my friends, is that you should always be respectful of others' time. If you're not interested in a couple, like truly interested, don't waste it. Don't waste their time. Just tell them you're not interested and move on. Or if you change your mind, tell them and move on. Or if something comes up in your life that prevents you from making plans after you just asked a couple to make plans, take the 5 seconds and let them know. And I'm not saying that that's the correct thing to do, okay? I'm saying I think it's the right thing to do. I'm not sure what the proper etiquette is here, okay? But me, personally, I think that's the right thing to do. I think that's the way to go about it. The kind, respectful, I don't want to waste your time thing to do. And that brings me to the other couple. Like I said, this all happened within the last 10 days. I started chatting with this couple on SDC. They reached out to us and seemed very nice and very attractive. They live about an hour and I would say 15 minutes north of us. Not the perfect situation in terms of distance, but again, it's been hard for us to find new couples in our area lately. And an hour and 15-minute drive isn't that far at all, really. So I go through the usual process, all right? I chat a bit, vet them a little bit, show their profile to Eva. She approved. So fresh off the other couple not responding, I decided to do something I usually don't do. I invited them to have a dinner date with us. Usually I wait for the other couple to offer. But I asked here and they accepted. We planned something for Saturday. I am recording this on Tuesday. So this just happened a couple of days ago. We have everything ready to go. We have a time, we have a place. I even called the restaurant and made reservations. A few hours before we are supposed to leave, we get a message from them. Their daughter had a medical issue, so they were going to have to take her to the ER. Apparently she cut her leg and needed stitches. Okay, understandable. They apologized and asked if we were free the next day, Sunday. I told them we were. So see, they're showing that they're still interested. They're apologizing for not getting together and immediately trying to plan another date, the next day even. Well, like I said, I told them that we were free, and Eva was very happy to hear this because she had just paid for a spray tan in anticipation of our date. Turned out to be a waste of money. They told us that they would contact us in the morning to let us know for sure, like if they could still do something on Sunday. They assumed that their daughter would be fine, it was just a cut, but wanted to make sure. Okay, again, understandable. Meanwhile, Eva's mom invites her to go to a movie in the afternoon. But now, we're waiting on confirmation from this couple, so she can't accept or reject the invitation until we hear from this couple. We don't want to cancel on them now. We said we were going to do it. We want to do it. We want to be true to our word. Noon rolls around. The movie is at 2 p.m. Still no message from this couple. They finally texted us at 12:30 saying that they felt it would be best to stay home with their daughter. She's okay, but they just felt it would be best to stay home with her. Okay, understandable again. But be respectful of our time. You told us you would let us know in the morning. So Eva was holding off on her other plans. But fine, I'm not going to complain too much about that. Things happen. I am going to complain about something else. They apologized and told us how excited they were to meet us. I explained that, we believe family comes first, so there was no need to apologize, and that's the truth. They asked if we could reschedule, and we of course said yes, and told them that we were planning to go to the club on Saturday. I said they were welcome to join us, but we also had Friday and Sunday available if they just wanted to get together for dinner like we originally planned. So that was, 2 nights ago? They read the message. Didn't respond. This morning, I got the following message from them, from the husband. How was your weekend? That's it. How was your weekend? Okay. Not going to answer my question about scheduling a date. I answered his question, though. I told him how my weekend was, how our weekend was. I asked how their daughter was, and got a polite response confirming she was doing well. That's it. No mention of rescheduling. It drives me nuts. Communication, people. It's easy. If you can spend days and days, hours and hours chatting with someone, you can take 5 seconds to update them on a change of plans when you were the ones who canceled in the first place, seemingly for good reason. But if you are truly excited about meeting us and truly sorry about canceling our plans and truly interested in rescheduling like you said, then communicate about it. I was discussing this with Eva yesterday, and she made a good point. what could their end game be? You know, I mean, if they were just like screwing around and not really serious about getting together, what was their end game? Like, why would they do that? It started off as such a fun conversation. It seemed sincere. Why waste our time like that? If we had to cancel plans on someone after chatting with them for a while, I would be very apologetic and then be like, okay, let's check our calendars and reschedule. And if dates were proposed to me, I would respect that and I would check our calendar and let them know. Or at least acknowledge the question in some way. Like maybe say, thanks for the dates, we'll get back to you on that. Or damn it, if Eva and I change our minds and we decide, you know what, we are not interested in this couple anymore, we would simply tell them that. But just ignoring the question after all that planning, it's just poor communication and it drives me absolutely bonkers. So that's what I hope anyone listening to this takes away from this, all right? Make sure you are being a good communicator. Make sure you're being honest. Like I've said numerous times, it is your right to change your mind about another couple or person for any reason. But please be respectful. Be respectful of others, their time, and communicate with them. All right, well, I told you I had a sexy story for you. So let me finish today's episode with that. Guess which podcast host is becoming more and more comfortable playing at the club? Yep, you are listening to him. If you've been here a while, you'll know that I have never particularly enjoyed, or I should say preferred, playing in a club setting. I have anxiety and I'm a bit of a germaphobe. So I don't like being in a hot room on an uncomfortable bed that has been fucked on countless times with an immeasurable amount of fluids spilled while there is club music pulsating in the background and, depending on the room, where other people can potentially see and hear me. It's just not my thing. And it's other people's thing, and I applaud them for that. That's your thing. You do your thing. But it's just not my thing. At the time of this recording, I have played at the club a grand total of 5 times. The first time was a soft swap, and I don't even know if I should count that. The second time was with Eva, like by ourselves. So I'm not sure if I can count that either. So perhaps a more accurate way to say it is that I have full swapped at the club a total of 3 times. The first time worked out way better than I could have imagined. But I attribute that to the couple we were with, especially the woman, who made me feel super comfortable, and they were both very understanding of my anxiety regarding playing at the club. The second time was the St. Patrick's Day orgy that I spoke about in a recent episode. I was very uncomfortable that time, but I worked through it with some help from one of the women in our group. And that brings us to the third and most recent time. Oddly enough, it was with the same 2 other couples from the St. Patrick's Day event. It all just came together rather coincidentally. Eva and I decided to go to the club. We hopped on Telegram to let one of the other couples know we plan on attending. I'll just call them couple number 1 because they live kind of far away and the club is kind of a good halfway point almost. So we hopped on Telegram only to find a message for them telling us that they were going to the club and they were letting us know. So that worked out nicely. And then our other friends, couple number 2, they had mentioned they were thinking about going, so we weren't sure about it, but then they ended up getting a babysitter at the last minute. So now they were going too. Couple number 1 arrived, a lot earlier. So we did most of our hanging out with them. Something of note here was the way this woman flirted with me. As we sat next to each other, pretty much the whole time, she just rubbed and caressed my dick through my jeans. Pretty much nonstop. And I am not complaining. This was fantastic. I don't take hints. I don't read signals. I assume this woman wanted to play with me again that night, but you never know. But acting like this, that left pretty much nothing to interpretation. I knew this woman was good to go and into me. And it made me feel very eager to move on to playtime. Now, at some point, couple number 2 met up with us, and they told us, do not go into a playroom without them. It was kind of weird because they really didn't hang out with us. They seemed to be out on the prowl, like looking to score with another couple. And we were kind of like their backup plan. We were like their safety fuck, you could say. Not a complaint, all right, just an observation here. Well, after some time, flirting and hanging out, the 4 of us, meaning Eva, myself, and couple number 1, we really wanted to get on to play. And at this point, remembering the last time we played at the club, I was feeling a little more comfortable about it. So I was fine with it. None of us had rented a hotel for the evening, and none of us, like I said, lived close to the club. So it was pretty much play at the club or don't play at all tonight. And I decided I wanted to play tonight. So this woman is gorgeous with an amazing body. And I was not going to let my anxiety, excuse me again, I was not going to let my anxiety get in the way of playing with her. We needed to find couple number 2, though. We walked around the club twice, searching for them, with no success. Didn't know where they were. We figured they had met a new couple and were off playing with them somewhere else. I'm a man of my word, and I did not want to go into a playroom without them, since we did agree to honor their requests from earlier. But we couldn't find them. And we were ready to go, trust me. We were ready to go. So we all agreed, we tried our best. So, we did what we could. We looked for them twice. And then we decided, you know what? We tried our best, so we headed into the playroom. And at this club, there's a giant room that is nicknamed the Fishbowl. It is a huge room with about a dozen beds. And there's this big wall of windows where people outside the fishbowl can sit and watch the action in the center of the room. And then you have beds on the perimeter of the room, which can be semi-closed off with a curtain, which only gives like a small bit of privacy. Well, who did we see upon entering this room? Couple number 2. Fully clothed, had not been playing. They said they were waiting for us. I'm not sure what the hell happened. Did they tell us they'd be in there waiting and we just didn't hear them? Not sure. And it wasn't important at that moment, you know. But just like at the St. Patrick's Day event, all 6 of us were about to crowd on a full-size bed in a cramped area and have some fun. My usual anxiety did kick in, but not nearly as bad as previous times. So we got it going on and had a ton of fun. Eva and one of the other ladies practically soaked the bed with their squirting. But just like last time, the woman of couple number 1 didn't seem to have an orgasm, no matter what any of us did. Me, her husband, the other guy. Don't know. And the husband of couple number 1 was having a little trouble himself, like he did last time. You know, trouble rising to the occasion. You see, he's just like me. Anxiety kicks in that type of environment. And I envy the guys who don't have to deal with it. But for some of us, there's a lot of pressure to perform in that particular environment. Eva and the woman of couple number 2 were very clearly satisfied. The dude of couple number 2 and myself were very satisfied. But again, couple number 1, neither of them finished properly. Despite that, it seemed like everyone had a good time once again, and we were all already talking about doing it again sometime. Now, it was hot. Not just as a description of the sex, but temperature-wise as well. It was hot. Couple number 2 said they really wanted to get out and get a drink, so they got dressed and left. And they told us they'd see us outside. Now, I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned this before, but if I'm not actively having sex, I don't like to be naked, just sitting around. I have to put my boxers on at least. So that's what I did, and then I put my pants on because I figured, hey, we're done. Time to get dressed and head out of here. But the 3 others in the room showed no urgency whatsoever. They just laid there naked, and me partially clothed, and we all just talked for, I don't know, a good 15, 20 minutes. It was very nice. And then, I don't know who started it, I don't remember, but we all started getting frisky again. And the dude, now with, only 2 couples in the room instead of 3, and, more space and time to overcome some uncomfortable feelings, he got hard again. And he started to fuck Eva. Meanwhile, the woman starts kissing me, and I start fingering her, and things start to escalate. Normally, I am a one and done type of guy. After I finish, and that's my term for ejaculating, finish, I usually can't go again for a while. But this woman was relentless and was turning me on again, and I found myself starting to get hard. And I remember saying, well, I guess this is happening. And I pulled off my pants and my boxers and started to have sex with her again. But she stopped me and she said, let me get on top. She had not done that until this point in the evening. And sure enough, after a few minutes of riding me, she was able to come. And it was a great feeling. Not a sense of pride, mind you. I just always get more pleasure from knowing that I help satisfy a woman than from my own sexual satisfaction. I was happy that I was able to help her finish. And her husband? Well, he was able to finish too. For the first time with Eva or that other couple. I feel for him. I mean, I felt his frustration. I know exactly how it feels and how it can be difficult to perform in that environment when you really, really want to. But tonight, it didn't matter because we all left happy. When we finally left the playroom, we ran into couple number 2, and they asked where we'd been. And I said, "We went for round 2. You missed it." They were surprised, and the guy who's quite comical, he looks at me and goes, "God damn." So yeah, it was surprising that 2 guys in their late 40s who are normally uncomfortable in that kind of environment could go not 1, but 2 rounds that evening. And I have to say, I'm kind of proud of that, and just, kind of proud that I overcame my anxiety about playing in a club setting. Because I totally admit this, all right? Playing at the club has its advantages. There's no additional money that's needed for a hotel room. There's no need to worry about extra travel, like getting an Uber or driving from the club to another location. There's no downtime in between getting all riled up at the club and then having to drive somewhere else, sometimes like 30 minutes or more to a different venue. There's no need to worry about cleaning up or washing sheets. You just ball up what you've used on the bed, and then someone comes in to take care of it for you. Definitely some nice benefits there. And I admit that. I admit it. But despite all those benefits, I will always choose to play elsewhere if it were up to me. But I have to say that it is nice to feel like I'm overcoming my anxiety and can play there if that is the consensus of the group. So yay for Evan. That is all for this week, my friends. Thanks for listening today. As always, you can hit me up, anytime. Questions, comments, thoughts, suggestions, send them my way. You can reach me a variety of ways. You can find me on Blue Sky by searching for Evan Swings. You can go to swing.com and find my profile, which is Evan Swings Podcast, all one word. Or you can find me on Instagram or Kick by searching for my username, which is Evan Deanson, all one word, EvanDeanson. Or just use old-fashioned email and contact me at evandeanson@gmail.com. Email is probably the best way to get a prompt response from me, if I'm being honest. I mean, I do my best to respond to all listeners who reach out, but you do have to be patient with me sometimes. I'm not the best at frequently checking for messages. Until next time, take care, everyone. Remember, be safe, be wild, be adventurous. We only get one of them, so live life to the fullest.